thinking on Melissa Ann Barrows thinking on her experiences as a KTI star and where it's taken her since. Melissa Ann.
Tour bus mom. Hey everybody, I'm going to talk to you today about making moments. My first memories were lining up my dolls, my baby brother, and eventually my baby sister, and playing school. I played house. I had worksheets, I had rows, there were rows. And I handed out worksheets, and we did alphabets and numbers and multiplication tables. And I loved it. It was what I played, it was my game. And years later, we were sitting around Christmas, playing Cards Against Humanity. And my brother turned around to me flippantly and said, "Hey, you know you taught me how to read, right?" And it was a moment. Isn't that a great meme picture? Meme that for me, somebody. Years went by. I was a reader and a writer, and I loved school, and like I rushed to get there, and I loved being in that environment. And as I got older, I started to pay attention to what was happening and how it was happening. The content was fine. It was, I got it, whatever. But I paid attention to what was happening, and I knew that I wanted to teach. And I knew that I wanted to teach English because, and I apologize to all the ELA teachers in the room now, I was like, I'm just going to teach kids to love books. It's not what we do. We do that too. But I wanted to teach kids to read and write and love books and love stories, and I wanted to be an English teacher. And in order to take AP English, because I thought to be an English teacher I should do that, I had to get signed in by my sophomore year English teacher. And she unequivocally looked at me and said, "You? No. You can't do that." I was devastated. 2 years later, I was in honors English, and I happened to have the same woman for honors English who taught AP. And we were doing something and chatting about something, and she turned around to me and very flippantly said, "You should have taken AP." I was going to go do that. So I decide I want to go get a bachelor's degree in English. In New Jersey, which is where I'm originally from, you get a bachelor's of science in education with a minor in your subject area. And I was like, well, just in case I can't do this, maybe I want a BA in English, just in case I could do something else with it. And I didn't really want to stay in New Jersey, so I looked around and I ended up at Lebanon Valley College.
Woo!
This is my man right here.
Let's go.
So I ended up at Lebanon Valley College, and I got to meet a man named Walter Labonte, who had been 20 years in the secondary English classroom, and he had retired from that and come back and was an adjunct. And we were, we talked a lot. We talked about what we were doing, what I wanted to do. I took his classes, all that stuff. And we were sitting in his office one day, and he looked at me, and he had this great, like, New England belly laugh. And he just laughed for a minute, and he looked at me and he said, "You are going to be really good at this, and people are going to fight you. And I can't wait to see it happen." And I had a moment. I got a job, started teaching, ended up back in Pennsylvania, and I met this absolutely fantastic young woman when I was teaching at Bermudian Springs High School named Autumn Zaminsky. Kid from Florida, moved up to Central PA, in my classes. She was my yearbook advisor. She was a pistol. Loved her to death, but we were very much similar, we sort of fought. She ended up going into education, and we ended up becoming colleagues. She worked at the district I worked at. We collaborated. My 12th grade class worked with her 2nd grade class. It was super awesome. And not 2 weeks ago, I tipped my hat to her on Twitter, and she said, "Just remember who taught who how to find their voice and fight for what they believe in." And that's how I She was a KTI 16 star, And she said, I did this thing that you've got to do. It's gonna be insane. And so I convinced my principal to nominate me, and I was a KTI 17 star. And the first time I walked through that clap, I said, oh my God, I'm home. These people get me. And that was another moment. Drew Dudley gave a TED Talk called Everyday Leadership. And he talks in that TED Talk about something called lollipop moments. A lollipop moment is a moment when someone said or did something that you feel made your life fundamentally better. Or when something you said or did made someone else feel fundamentally better. I look back and I've had those moments. And I think about it. And I know that I've given those moments to others. What I'd like you all to do is think about those moments that you've had and those moments that you've given. And as you leave KTI and you bring all of this back to your districts and you figure out what to do with all of it, the lead learners are gonna walk around and they're gonna hand you some lollipops. And your job is to go create lollipop moments for others as they've created them for you. Thank you.
Let's go, Dutchman.